just touched by his strong sense of humanity. I mean, he was so deeply kind, and such a pleasure to work with.
One of the best ways to boost your brain is to learn a new skill.
You should learn the drums to play a song with me on my stadium tour.
Oh, God, okay.
I think this actually might be the most difficult thing you do.
Yeah, it's... I'm struggling.
So you're a neuroscientist, is that correct? Is that the
Yep.
right term?
Yes.
All right. Well, you get to school Chris Hemsworth about the loss of brain cells as you get older, right? And his reaction was not exactly like positive, right? He does not like to age.
Yes, I don't think any of us do.
He sees them fit condition, but that, getting older, does it really matter what you do in your life as far as,
Yeah, it
when you get
absolutely
older?
does. It absolutely does. I mean, I think it can be kind of a deflating message to learn about brain science and the fact that as we age, we lose brain volume, 5% every decade or so after the age of 40, and our brain's neural connections start to weaken. But there's a lot of promising news too, which is that the brain does have a remarkable ability to form new neural connections, to rewire itself as it ages or as we age. And this is known as neuroplasticity, and it is something that follows us throughout our lives. Our brains continue to be neuroplastic until the day that we die.
Mhm.
And so I think Chris found it really inspiring that our brains can change in both structure and in function in response to our experiences and the cognitive demands we place on ourselves. But also puts a little bit of pressure on us too, right? Which is that we're not going to get any of these brain boosting benefits if we just kind of sit on the couch, watching TV all day. We really do need to find ways to challenge our our brains, to allow them to change for the better, to put ourselves in environments that stimulate us such that we build new neurons, we form new synaptic connections and new neural pathways. So I think Chris's initial response was very reasonable, and I think, fortunately, the brain science gives us a lot of hope because our brains are plastic and they're capable of changing.
And he takes up drumming because you have to take up a new task, right? In order to keep the cells or
Exactly.
brain
Yeah,
working
learn
properly.
something new. Learn anything that challenges your brain, and it doesn't have to be as extreme as what Chris did, which is, to not only learn a very complex instrument that involves coordination across all four limbs and involves very complex rhythmic patterns. And he had to do it in such a short time frame. And given his filming schedule, that was really overwhelming. And so I think what he did is absolutely miraculous. And to perform with Ed Sheeran in a stadium tour at 70,000 people, wow. I would just say for people like me, you more everyday humans who are not Thor, we can take on more modest challenges that really have sizable returns for our brains. So I would urge people to learn anything new that they have a passion for. That could be photography, cooking. Maybe they want to take an acting class or a
Mhm.
knitting class or join a recreational sport. You name it. Anything that you feel sits outside your comfort zone, but is interesting enough and exciting enough that you want to see progress and you keep returning to it, will lead to improvements in your brain.
Yeah, he kept us on edge because he kept thinking he's not going to be able to drum
Yes.
in a big concert venue.
Absolutely. No, he did such an impressive job. And one thing I really admired about him is that, he has every reason after a long filming day and a really intense travel schedule to just put his feet up and say, okay, now's my time to relax. But instead, he took on these Herculean challenges, in his personal life in order to stave off age-related decline in the brain and to try to protect his brain as much as possible, from the effects of aging. So I really admired that. And on a personal level, I left thinking, oh man, I quit those Chinese classes. I should probably pick them back up again. It made me reevaluate how much I'm pushing myself in my everyday life. I wanted to make sure I wasn't just talking the talk, but also walking the walk.
So were you a little starstruck? Did you have to get over that initially, or he has a
Yeah,
beautiful face that
for
you have to look at?
I, I'm not the type of person to get particularly starstruck, just by nature, I guess. What I what I immediately connected with Chris on is that he has a genuine passion for learning and science. And he seemed like a very curious student, which for me was just a dream because I wanted to teach him as much as I could to help improve his life. And he was as eager to learn as much as he could. And I was also just touched by his strong sense of humanity. I mean, he was so deeply kind, and such a pleasure to work with. So I was very moved by that, right? You don't know what people will be like behind the scenes, but I just can't say enough wonderful things about the kind of person he is.
Beautiful on the inside and the outside.